Yeah, hi everybody and welcome. My name is Rebecca Larson and I'm one of the co-leaders of Indivisible Twin Cities along with Lisa Herbs, who will be talking a little bit. And welcome. Thank you for joining. This is our new volunteer orientation. We have these every once in a while to let people know how they can join our work and get more involved in the work that we are doing within Indivisible Twin Cities. So on the next slide, I actually do want to introduce a couple other people from our Indivisible Twin Cities team who are helping. Jordan Koydal is on our steering committee. Tamar Fox is one of our volunteers. Christine Huaregi, whose last name I always butcher, helped to organize and plan this event, as well as Tim Wegner, who's on our steering committee too. And I might have missed a couple, but as we go along, we'll introduce you as their names come up. Okay, so back to the slides.
Give me 1 second to relocate
Okay,
the slides.
okay. They got lost. The slides got
Yes,
lost.
yes, they did. I was trying to multitask and lost the slides.
It happens.
That's why I don't like to share my screen because I'm not a good multitasker anymore.
So, one moment.
Oh, thank you, Christine. Emily is here from Indivisible Twin Cities, the volunteer crew as well. So we have people on the call who are, while Jordan is looking for the slides, who are regular volunteers with us or have a role to play on one of the teams. And then many of you, I think, are brand new joining us for the first time. But I think
I got it all. See you later.
I have spinach in my teeth, which is embarrassing, but I think I got it out. Um, yeah, and so when we get through towards the end, we will be going into breakout groups so you can meet with some of our regular team leaders or committee leaders and learn ways to get involved. And here we go. Try again. Okay. You can go on the next one.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Or
All right. All right. These are hard times, which we all know. I'm stating the obvious. We like this quote, do not get lost in a sea of despair. Do not become bitter or hostile. Be hopeful, be optimistic. Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. We will find a way to make a way out of no way. Representative John Lewis. We love that quote, and we also often say action is the antidote to anxiety.
There
So
you go.
that is our bias. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it out just
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. All right, so this is just the quick agenda. We're going to talk about what Indivisible is, how we, Indivisible Twin Cities, fit into the kind of the national landscape, ways for you to take action, and then we'll do some breakout groups. So if you're new to Indivisible, or just a little bit of background, Indivisible was formed after Trump was elected the first time, and but has been steadily working and building a movement since then. And so there is a national organization with hundreds of chapters all around the country. Basically, it's grassroots activism. It's building kind of citizens who are willing to put the work into electing progressive leaders and policies. And right now, obviously, a lot of the work is about resisting Trump and his regime and pushing back against the authoritarian tendencies of that regime, and also doing what we can to stop the harm that is coming from the federal government right now. Um, yeah, and it's just grassroots. It's these local chapters. We are all volunteers, as are all the chapters that are around the country. We are really about increasing civic engagement and education and getting people to the point where they want to take action. And for a lot of us, perhaps we've always been regular voters, but not necessarily taking action beyond that. So we're trying to create a home for people who want to get involved and stay involved, helping with these goals of pushing back against fascism right now or electing progressives to office. Our goals, this is Indivisible Twin Cities, for 2025, are really doing what we can to resist the MAGA agenda, working to Trump-proof our state. Part of that includes really pushing on our state-wide elected officials, the governor, our Minnesota legislators who represent us, to really think about, and to a great extent they are, think about how they can protect our communities here in Minnesota against the things that are happening at the federal level. But we also know that these are, there's a fire hose of horrible things coming at us and the people in our communities. And we are doing what we can with the people that we have to disrupt, delay, and disobey where we need to. And really just build our movement here in the Twin Cities so that we can do more. These are some examples of the things that we do, the actual actions that we take, such as action hours, educational series. We're pretty active on social media. We communicate via newsletters. And we're trying to do more around building relationships with our legislators and also community organizations. So this is just kind of the variety of things that we do in order to advance those goals that I was talking about a minute ago. The way that we're organized is we have a steering committee. Lisa and I are the co-leaders. Bridget, Jordan, Jen are on playing the roles listed. And then the steering committee is rounded out with Manny, Patrice, Sue, and Tim. We meet on a weekly basis, and we look at all the work that's coming our way and kind of figure out how we're going to organize it. And then beyond the steering committee are teams that are, working on specific things and topics, such as communications. And I'm going to just refer briefly to areas where we have very specific needs right now. So, and when you look at the slide, you'll see them. There's a URL, a hyperlink behind the title. And I will just highlight those as we go along. But in the realm of communications and messaging, we are pretty active on social media, but we do want to enter into the world of TikTok. But we need somebody with experience managing TikTok to help get an account up and running and active in that space. These are just examples of communications and messaging. We use We have a newsletter that goes out at least once a week, sometimes more often than not for special events. We have social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky primarily. And yeah, these are just some examples of our messaging approach. Other working teams. We have a team that is focused on calls to action. So one of the main things we do is an action hour twice a month where we get together on Zoom and actually do calls to action together on the call. And by that, by calls to action, I mean mostly calling your elected officials on a specific issue, asking them to vote on something or not vote on something. And normally they are, well, we try to make them timely and respond to things that are happening in the news or in Congress or in the Minnesota legislature that are pressing. We're looking for, right now, we're looking for a person to lead the call to action team, which encompasses the action hour, but also just calls to action that we send out via social media or our newsletter. We're also looking for somebody who is technically savvy, who can help create online advocacy forms. And we have a platform called Every Action that enables us to do that through this pretty highly configurable functionality within it. But we need another person to help do that work. Other working teams that we have are related to community outreach, which means building connections with organizations that are outside of Indivisible. Member outreach is what we're doing right now. So onboarding and welcoming new members and processing Facebook requests. And in that category, what we're trying to do also is form a team, a tabling team. And tabling is when there's an event of some sort and they invite organizations to participate by sitting at a table and talking about your organization, handing out literature, that kind of thing. And we've been doing more of that lately, but we'd like to have a team that is focused on that. And then we have a variety of tools and technology that support the work we do, the kind of the platforms that are running behind the scenes that help us stay organized. Education, events, and town hall planning. I mentioned a little bit about, or you maybe have attended some of our sessions that are in the Activism 101 category. We did one on legislative advocacy just this past Monday. I guess that's yesterday. We did a session on the race class narrative idea, brought in speakers from other organizations to help do that training. For this category particularly, we would like a leader, looking for a leader and members who on an ongoing basis can plan and organize those events. And then there are always special events such as No Kings, where we're doing rallies or protests or, whatever comes our way that we try to respond to or, figure out how to do a special event. Rapid response team, this is another area where we'd like to form an ongoing team a team of people who can respond in a short period of time to things that are happening right now. So, for example, a few weeks ago when we learned that a judge in Milwaukee had been arrested, within maybe a day, we organized a protest outside of the federal courthouse in Minneapolis to protest that arrest. So that's the type of thing that is coming up more and more, where we feel like we need a group of people whose schedules are flexible, who can respond in a short time frame. And then watch teams, you'll hear more about this in the breakouts, but these are policy focused teams where we've broken them into subject areas or issue areas like reproductive and gender rights, immigration, democracy, etc. And the idea is that these teams can kind of focus on that issue, so the rest of us don't have to worry about everything all the time. It's in a way addressing that whole fire hose effect. We do need members for some of these teams. And so if you have a particular interest in one of these issue areas, this might be a good slot for you. The other thing that these watch teams are doing is building the connections to organizations in the Twin Cities that are more boots on the ground, whether it be Planned Parenthood around reproductive justice, or MIRAC, which is supporting immigrants, directly in those communities, so that we are following the lead of those groups, but we are also lending our support via people power. Um, I wonder if this is a time to turn it over to Lisa.
It's fine by me.
We didn't work out like the proper segue, but I think this might
Yeah.
be the point, Lisa. So I'm going to turn it
All
over to
right.
Lisa, who is the co-leader along with me of Indivisible Twin Cities. So Lisa,
Hi, everybody. Oops. Did we go past something there? I thought we go back one. Nope.
right.
There you go. Let's start there. Um, so yes, Rebecca did a pretty good job of going through some of our current needs, and we'll talk more about those things, I think, when we get into the different breakout rooms. Um, so one of the things that we actually back in the day we had t-shirts made, and
I
on the
kind of
back of them
realized it towards the end.
uh-oh, somebody needs to go on mute. Thank you. Anyway, we used to have t-shirts that and yard signs that said show up, organize, act, and vote. That was just those four lines. It was very simple, very easy to understand. And and we say it all the time. It's like the very easiest thing anybody can do at this level of organizing it is to just show up, just be a body in a crowd, or come to the meetings, or do the calls to action, or whatever it is. Just be there and show up as much as you possibly can. And so and it really does matter, and especially right now, uh, you're going to kind of hear us keep referring to this 3.5% number, and some of you may have already heard this theory, but the theory is that authoritarian regimes can't really survive if there's a concerted, ongoing effort by the population to protest them. And in order and but there's sort of a number here that works, that seems to work, and it's 3.5% of the population. And in the United States case, that's about 11 million people. Now, on Hands Off on April 5th, about 3 million people showed up at events all over the country. So if we can get 3 million people to show up in one day, that number to get to 11 million really doesn't seem that far out of reach. It seems like something that we could get to, and this has to be sustained. So people have asked me before, does it matter if, does it really matter if I show up at a protest? And the answer is yes, 100% it matters. Whether we're at the Capitol with 40,000 people, or whether you're at standing on the corner in your neighborhood with 10 other people, it all matters, because it's not just that we're sending a message to the Donald Trumps of the world, or any other leaders. You're sending a message to people who are driving by and seeing you, or they see you on a news story, or they see a picture of a crowd of people holding signs in front of a Tesla dealership. It works because it starts to get into their head, and they're kind of like, hey, why are those people out there? Why are they standing on that bridge holding a sign? And then it it builds upon itself until eventually they're kind of like, hey, maybe I need to be paying closer attention to this, or maybe I need to get a sign and go stand on that bridge with them. So it does matter. So don't ever let anybody tell you that showing up isn't important. Okay, we can go to the next one. So sorry, I'm kind of having a little throat issue here. Um, the other thing, like I said, is that we say that it's really important to take action, and this is something that Indivisible Twin Cities really tries to uh, push a lot. That there's a lot of things we can do, whether it's calling our elected officials or sending postcards or organizing rallies or what have you. And so that's why we always need as many people as possible to act so that the numbers are big enough, again, to make a difference. So we do our action. We've already talked about our action hours, and we do post all of our actions on our website so that if you can't come to the action hour, you can at least go to our website, see what the actions are, and then you can do them yourselves. We do a lot of the work for you. We decide what the action is. We write up everything about it that you need to know, tell you who you're going to contact. In most cases, provide that contact information and give you a script. So we make it just about as easy as you can possibly make it. And then finally, we need help to organize, and that's exactly why we're having this call, because um, the organizing is a lot of work, and a lot of people don't really realize how much goes into this stuff until they get into it and start seeing all of the effort that goes into every organizing this meeting, for example. A lot of effort went into organizing this meeting. A lot of effort goes into keeping up with our databases and our social media and creating a newsletter every week, which is really a lot of work. And of course, putting on these big events and rallies and educational opportunities, it all takes a lot of effort. And so one of the things that we started doing with this, I want to give you a little bit of background about it. Right, I guess I would say last year during the election, there was sort of a core team at Indivisible Twin Cities of about 9 people, and most of us did all the work. And while we had people who were pretty diligent about showing up at events or writing postcards for with us and things like that, we were it pretty much. And after the election, everything just exploded, and it didn't just explode here; it exploded all over the country, especially within Indivisible, because they started getting so much attention for the work that we've been doing. And we at Indivisible Twin Cities, we've been doing this work since 2017. So we didn't disappear after the first Trump administration. We just kept working. So we were really well positioned to jump into things after this last election. And we were just inundated with people who wanted to get involved, who wanted to help, who wanted to do more uh, than just vote, because that most people, that's the only civic action they take, is they vote. And that's why you see that now we have so many of these groups and teams that we've been able to put together. We have these great volunteers who have jumped in and started helping us put things like this together. And so, but we're always kind of looking for more people to help us with all that's going on, because again, we need to sustain this resistance for a long period of time. Going to one rally isn't going to solve this problem. Having one call to action night is not going to solve this problem. We have to be in this for the long haul. We have to keep up the pressure and not relent until we finally get where we all want to be. So that's why we're here. We want people who really do have the time to volunteer. We appreciate everybody who expresses interest, but it's not necessarily for everybody. If you don't have maybe at least 5 hours a week that you can devote, that's okay. Just keep coming to our stuff, come to the action hours, come to the protests, go stand out with a sign somewhere. That's all great stuff because you're showing up and you're doing it. But if you want to really help us organize, we kind of feel like you need to be able to devote some time to it. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So this is going to kind of give you an idea of just how much stuff we do and how much we're doing on a weekly basis. So we're going to go through a few slides here that's going to show everything that we've got coming up right now. Um, so I think most of you on this call have heard about the No Kings event. I hope you have. If you are available on June 14th, we really, really, really want you to show up at the Capitol so that we can show on film and in the media and everywhere, social media, where how many people really care about this and want to be at the No Kings event on that day. We had by our count, about 43,000 people on April 5th, and we'd love for this one to be bigger than that. We really, really want it to be bigger than that. So to get ready for it, we're going to do some things ahead of time. And one of the things we're doing is we're organizing overpass protests on 4 different bridges. That's right. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. 4 different bridges on 4 different days over next weekend. And that is at these particular locations. And there's mobilized links that you can click on. Not here, you can't click on them, but you can go to Mobilize and look for our events for Indivisible Twin Cities, and all of this stuff is going to be listed there. So you can sign up to go to any of these, all of them, however you want to do it. And this is also going to give us some visibility, because the idea of this is to be out on the bridges so that people can see, oh, what's happening on June 14th. That looks interesting. Maybe I should try to go to that on the 14th. And Tamar just put the link to the Mobilize in the chat if you guys want to look at that. Okay, next one. Okay, we also need volunteers to help us on June 14th. This is a huge, huge effort, and it takes a whole lot of people. And we have a lot of different jobs that can be done on that day, helping us set things up, tables, chairs, hauling things around. And then we also will need people to like lead chants and hold signs and hold banners and help escort people. We have accessible seating for people who need it, and we need help, getting people to that area. So all those types of things. There's a lot of different identified roles that we need to fill for that day. So if you're interested in volunteering on June 14th at the rally, please do click on that link and fill out the form. And then we will get that, and we'll be processing all that information and then sending out more information in the coming week, I guess. The countdown is here. Okay, let's go to the next one. We also need marshals. Now, what a marshal's job is a little different than your basic volunteer. Marshals are the people that you see at pretty much every rally you've been to. They wear the orange vests. They kind of make a perimeter around, and their job is just to make sure that the event stays safe for everybody who's there. And they do receive different type of training. They will get some de-escalation training before the event, and sort of security techniques about and things that they need to be looking out for at the event. Because this is going to be such a big event, we need a lot of marshals. So if that sounds like your thing, then definitely try to join us for that, because we need a lot of marshals to help us out.
Yeah.
And let's go to the next slide. Also, to get ready for the No Kings event, this is a really fun thing. We did this before Hands Off, and it was a big success. So on Friday, the June 13th, so the night before the event, you can meet us at Lake Monster Brewing in St. Paul, and we're going to be making signs. We're going to be really creative. Have a beverage or two, and make signs for the rally. And you do need to register for that too, because we do have space constraints on that one. And then, of course, there's the rally itself. So if you don't want to volunteer, that's okay. But we still hope you'll come and hang out and be there for us. There's going to be a march that starts at noon at St. Paul College. We're going to start gathering at 11 a.m. to try to, to get everybody ready to go. Then the march is actually going to start at 12 o'clock and then march down to the Capitol. And then at the Capitol, we're going to be doing a rally, but we're also going to have some other fun events going on the Capitol grounds. So it's a little different than your typical rally that you've been to at the Capitol if you've been to any of them, but it should be a really uh, inspirational day. How about that? Get everybody fired up for the long haul. Okay. And then we have a few other events here that are not necessarily No Kings related. How to defend Medicaid. This is going to be on Zoom, so it's pretty easy to attend, and we'll be talking about the potential cuts to Medicaid that are going through the Senate as we speak. So hopefully you can join us for that. And raid response training. I don't know if anybody heard about the weird thing that happened in South Minneapolis today, where the Homeland Security people and ICE agents and what have you showed up at a restaurant on Lake Street this about noon today, and they're trying to act like it wasn't necessarily like the typical ICE raid, as if that's supposed to make us feel better. But we still had, the highly militarized looking people with helmets and fatigue looking things and big guns, and some armored vehicle was there. So, and they're all wearing masks. It's just not cool. So anyway, we've been doing a lot of work with MIRAC lately. Our immigration team has really built a great relationship with them. So they're going to be having this immigration raid response training that should be super helpful and give everybody really good information what to do in an event like what happened today and what's probably going to continue happening in our area. So, yeah, we've been doing these books plus more events for quite a while, and it's kind of a book club kind of thing, but it's not just books. We can do podcasts or movies or other things that's media related, and but we kind of treat it like a book club, and it's usually virtual. But we've decided to kind of think through what we do with our books and more event. And so we're looking for some input in a brainstorming session. So if you're so inclined or you want to help us kind of figure out how this will look going forward and the best ways for us to organize these events, we'd love to hear from you. So it's going to be on Zoom on Sunday, the 22nd. And you'll meet a lot of nice, very good people on that because they really are into it. And then here's our next action hour. We do normally do 2 action hours a month, but because of the No Kings event, we just can't pull it off on when it normally would be. We do the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. So the next one would have been on June 10th, but we're all going to be really slammed trying to get ready for No King. So we will not be holding one on June 10th, but so our next one will be on June 24th. And I really can't stress enough how after you've done this, you will feel like you've accomplished something. And we all say, "Oh, well, I want to take action." This is the best way to do it because you kind of are doing it with a group of other people. You can ask questions. You can kind of understand these issues a little bit better than maybe you would normally, and come out of it feeling like, okay, I got something done tonight, and maybe I made a difference. So I hope you'll join us on the 24th. All right. Um, should do you want me to talk through this, Christine, or maybe do you need to talk through this? Because how do you feel about that?
Yes, I can just give a brief overview. We're going to split up for the next 30 minutes or so into one of three different breakout rooms. The first one is about actions, so communications, calls to actions, event planning. If you are interested in helping with those activities, please select breakout room 1. You will see a little window appear on your screen that'll ask you to choose a breakout room. And as you click on it, it will send you to that room. And we will have facilitators in the room to lead the conversations. The second breakout room option is the watch teams. So the leads for each issue area are going to be available to talk about what they are doing as a watch team and answer questions about what it might look like if you were to join a watch team. It'll be a good overview of the breadth of issues that we are covering. And then third option is the onboarding and engagement room. If you are interested in things like helping us answer our inbox, our info at indivisible-twin-cities.org inbox. We get questions, comments, suggestions every day. People have all kinds of ideas about how they would like to contribute to the resistance. And when we can, we make introductions among members who might live in the same building, for instance. And then ongoing engagement. Some of you have been asking about postcard parties. Yes, this is a really good example of ongoing engagement. We are very interested in forming neighborhood level postcard parties. So, in the past you've had opportunities to go to North Minneapolis or downtown Minneapolis or, somewhere where there's going to be like 100 people writing postcards together. That's great. We totally love that. But we would like, as ITC, to help form hyper local groups that will get together on a regular basis for postcarding season because it is so important and it's easy to do and it's fun. So if you want to learn more about postcarding, you can join us in Breakout Room 3 as well as other engagement activities. Not just postcarding. So Jordan will bring up a little